Hey, exiles. Hope everyone is doing well today. Sorry for being a little bit late. It is quite early for me. Just getting a few things set up, and we should be good to go in about 20 minutes. How's everybody doing? Hopefully well. I know it's been a bit. We have much to discuss, especially on the podcast. I have some news to share, but I'm probably not going to do it today. Probably going to be a different day. Okay. Dry. What's going on, man? Hi, Shinzu. Yes, maybe I was a little bit late. Maybe. Here. What color light shall we do in the background? What color light? Hey, Center. What's happening, man? Let's see. Scene. Room. Oh. One right here. Got a purple going on. Want a different color? Green. Yes. How about the green? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hey, don't you call me that? Good evening from Canberra, Australia. Whoa. Hey now. That's not a good light. How I guess we can go purple. I guess purple's fine. Purple's good. Yes, Joey, I just started. Hey, Soshiro, what's happening? Definitely not red. I'm up at this hour. Yeah, I made a sacrifice because it's way better than Sirgog than the it's way better for Sirgog, Dreamcore, and Lolcohol. It's terrible for me though. And yeah, I feel it. I feel it. Um ready for a 2 hour rant? I don't know. Maybe some people were rant, but I'm not too ranty of a guy, honestly. I don't feel like ranting, so you might be a little disappointed. I don't know if you're gonna get a rant here. You as well, Soshiro. You as well. Yeah. So I guess just to open up everything. So you guys have probably noticed. One, I didn't stream anymore last Epoch. Two, there haven't really been any videos. I released one short yesterday, kind of giving my very brief thoughts on PoE2 right now and last Epoch. And that's because I played Ellie in private after launch day. I got to monos, progressed a little bit. Just not feeling it, guys. I just wasn't feeling it. I think I'm spoiled just because I'm a big gameplay enjoyer and not a big game theory crafter, right? Everyone, people who have watched me for a while will know Path of Building, nah. Any prep, nah. Lots of build experimentation, nah. I play one build a league in Path of Exile 1. One build, one or few two builds in Path of Exile 2 right now. I just like playing the game, and I, I know this is crazy to hear, but like in PoE 1, I do just like doing the bosses and killing the monsters, and I like the breadth of content in that game. That's why I loved Path of Exile 1. And I just like the feel of PoE 2 more. So I've already swapped back to PoE 2, and I'm just progressing my, yes, very basic lightning spear Amazon, although I have not looked up any real build guides on it. So I'm probably building it in a way worse way. And I just found out what Tangle Tongue was. Yeah. So maybe I should be getting one of those. But I don't know. I Last Epoch obviously is doing so much well. The one thing where I really think PoE2 can just steal from them or iterate on their systems is crafting in some way, because in PoE 2, I'm getting all my upgrades from just buying on trade, and it doesn't feel good to be like, okay, I want a minimum 250 PDPS spear with 500 accuracy. That's crazy strong, by the way. So 500 accuracy and go shopping. I don't really like that. I would love to just find the stuff myself or be able to craft a terrible version of it. But yeah, so I'm not playing lots Last Epoch anymore. I'm just gonna casually progress, but it just wasn't vibing with me, unfortunately. And then the other thing is, guys, and this is probably gonna show through in the pod, and like I said at the top, I just have a little bit of news that I'm probably gonna share later this week. I just haven't been playing a lot of. I just haven't been playing a ton, right? I haven't been making it necessarily a priority to play games and make content right now. I had Easter with my family, and we did a lot of like Easter egg hunts, and we went celebrated. And one of the nights last week or this weekend, my wife and I, sat down and we watched Wicked. We sat down and watched a movie, and it was wonderful. Oh my goodness, Wicked Part 1. I love musicals. I can't believe I didn't see this in theaters. It better come back to theaters for part 2. If it does not come back for part 2, if I can't do part 1, part 2 with an intermission in between, just like the actual stage play, oh, I will be so upset. But I've been having, I've been quite stressed as of late, and I kind of needed to cut back on something, and I think that's going to be making content, unfortunately, and just turning this a little bit more into a hobby again. I've been going so hard, you guys, since September. So hard. I've effectively been working 2 jobs. I have my real job, I have this, and then I have a family, and I need more fam time and I need more relaxation time. So I'll be coming out with like an official post and probably video later this week, kind of just laying it all out. But figured I'd give you guys all a preview if you're wondering why you haven't been seeing, multiple videos from me or shorts or live streams or all that. So you want me trying Blood Mage? Bro, I would get eviscerated on Blood Mage. Come on, you know it. You know that Lightning Spear is saving my butt right now. Ellie is fun. No more. No, we want another kid. Yes, we do, but not right now. Oh, thanks. I love Bluey. Well, guys, I don't think it's going to be until next league start. I think this is just going to be like, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday right now. I had a ton of podcasts. I'm organizing people. I'm, proactively, constantly reaching out. Like I said, I'll explain it further in my post, but imagine, and of course people can imagine this. Imagine you are working at your job. Imagine you are spending time with your family. And in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, you have like content brain on. One great example is I didn't take breaks at work, right? If I took a break from my work, I'd spend 3 minutes and I'd scroll through, Twitter or something to try to, find a piece of content, find an idea, post something. Like I've got content brain on, and I can't keep doing that. I can't keep doing that. It's just too much. And then if I sit down to play PoE 2, guys, you know how much more freaking enjoyable it is? And this is probably stupid of me to say. You know how much more enjoyable it is to just sit down and play and talk to my friends just for, half an hour at night, and not feel like, okay, I need to get footage. Okay, I need to make sure that I'm experiencing this part of the game. You know how people optimize the fun out of games? Well, what was I doing? Oh, well, I was just treating it like a job, right? I'm treating it like a job, and I'm not getting any relaxation. And then another thing, here you go. Here, this is my rant. You thought I was going to rant about Path of Exile 2? No. I haven't been able to exercise nearly as much since December, really. December is when the dive happened, the true dive, because instead of like, doing all my runs and making sure that I'm consistently working out, I am doing this stuff. Bad. It's bad. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop complaining. And yes, and I will address this. The absolute storm of anger and vitriol definitely expedited this. And it opened my eyes to the fact that I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this like rat race where I'm in a scene where, I constantly have to give my okay, because I'm still gonna make stuff, but it's not gonna be as scheduled, where I constantly have to give my opinion on all this, like, I don't know, feedback versus hate, and everybody's justified. I enjoy PoE2, but I need to talk about all the bad of PoE2. Right. Or just games in general. Like, it's just games. Like, a lot of people got mad at me for saying I'm not enjoying Last Epoch. And you know what they go to? It's just because you are you love Path of Exile too. You're a paid actor. You just shut up. No, I just don't. I just didn't enjoy it. I'm not gonna play it. Gosh, you guys, that's it. It's as simple as that. It's not deeper. There is not some great conspiracy. Okay. I gave that warning to myself too. I was like, I might not enjoy this because the one big thing that I really care about is like feel of game. And Last Epoch always felt a little bit. All the other systems so good, so cool. I am yapping like crazy, Mossify. This is indeed a live stream, and I talk on the live stream. And thanks, Hippocrates. I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for the $10. Get yourself a coffee or whatever you want. I do enjoy content regardless of what you're playing. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Well, I only have time for really only 1 or 2 games, so. That's what a paid actor would say. Well, you got me, dude. Would have never guessed you'd talk on your live streams. It's not like it's part of your name. I could do a silent live stream, but I don't think we'd have many people here, guys. Thanks, Hippocrates. I appreciate it. PoE2 is supposed to be fun and is not simple as that. 10% of the players who enjoy it is enough for GGG. I don't know what to say, man. As we'll soon discuss, I'm very, very casual. I'm not really blasting. I'm enjoying my time right now in the game. I'm also playing Lightning Spear, so that completely discounts my entire opinion. Yeah, 100%. Guitarholic, thanks for the honesty and openness, man. You have the luxury of you aren't a full-time creator. I am not. I am not a full-time creator. Let me repeat that. This is not my full-time thing at all. Stepping back and getting out of that mindset of having to make content and making it because it's fun is the right thing to do. Yeah, I got to get back to that, essentially. Lip reading live stream? Yeah, no, nah, I don't think so. I've also got a blanket on. I don't know if you guys notice. You guys can't see it. You guys want to see this? I have one of my daughters. I have one of my daughter's blankets. Lolcohol's going for a toilet break, then he's ready. Okay. I don't know sign language. I was one of the first to play Ellie pre-300 Kickstarter backer. 5K hours pre 1.0. I tried it the other day. I lasted 40 minutes. I don't like it anymore. Ooh, well that sucks, man. If this 020 commentary has made something clear, it is the amount of parroting of posts instead of people having their own opinions. People dislike the game because someone else told them it's not much fun instead of just playing it. It's all been a bit much for me, and I'm not a creator. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty rough. Hey, Pitts Nash, what's happening, man? Oh yeah. This is Bandit. Yes, this is Bandit, the father in Bluey. Beautiful.
For
yes.
Calgar.
Yes, my hey Gearsick man, thanks for the prime dude. PoE2 has issues and the flicker is clunky to play. Sadly, it's a great foundation of a game. Will be great in a few patches for sure. Yeah, definitely has issues. When I have to basically trade for all of my gear, all of it. I spent 20 minutes trading 15 exalted orbs, max res, better spear. All good now. All good. Oh, I got my third ascendancy last night, by the way, guys. Big noob here. What are we crying about today? I'm not crying about anything. Are you crying about something I comment? Hey, True Alpha Strike, what's happening, man? What time is it here? It is 6:53 a.m. Well, I also got bored of PoE2 as well. I hope you do not lose the positivity. I'm not going to lose the... Oh, local streaming too. Okay. I'm not going to lose the positivity. I'm just not going to make stuff anymore, guys. Like, I'm not going to do as much streaming. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I tried. It lost out. It lost out, dudes. Okay. All right, sounds good. All right. Hi, Lolcohol. Hey, UNCUT. Mm-hmm. Is there a O missing in the title? Oh my god. Did I misspell someone's name? No way. Whose name did I misspell? Don't say it. Rocky, Path of Exile, too long. Oh no! I misspelled Lolcohol's name. Lolcohol, I'm sorry. Wait. No, I didn't. Local? Wait. Lolcohol? No, I didn't. Wait. Loco. Oh my. Wait. Oh. Oh, I did. Wait. Lolcohol. Oh. What the? Have I always misspelled your name, Lolcohol? Lolcohol. Lolcohol. What? I think I've always misspelled your name, dude. Massive apologies. I fixed it on YouTube, Lolcohol. It was wrong on YouTube. It was right on Twitch. I fixed it. I know it's Lolcohol. Yep, Lolcohol. PoE2 is my first ARPG. You put me onto both Last Epoch and PoE2. Heck yeah. See, I'm glad though. Even if I ended up not liking Last Epoch, I'm really glad that I set on a lot of people who did end up enjoying it. I have a bunch of people who've been messaging me like, I bought Last Epoch because of you and it's so much fun. And I'm like, worth it making those videos. Because everything I say in those vids are true. Okay, Lolcohol, I will call you and we will get this going. Okay. It's okay. It might be a little bit of a janky stream today. It sounds like... Okay. It sounds like we may have issues with Sirgog's internet. Totally fine. Totally fine. And yes, we were supposed to have an updated overlay, but we don't. Well, we do have an updated overlay, but it's not good. It has some issues with it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so let's do black mode and then I'll call. Dark reader on. Okay, that's better. That's some nice lighting there. All right. First patch you monked, now lightning strike PoE2 is fine. I know, right? Dude. How do I stumble into this shoot? Crap. I didn't even mean to play lightning spear. I didn't know it was going to be busted. And then it ends up being ridiculous. Okay. Oh, I have to put on my virtual camera for these guys. Virtual webcam. Start virtual webcam. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
All right,
I could hear you,
need to
Sirgog.
figure out my camera quickly.
Okay. Yeah, there might be some stuff happening there. Hey, Dream, what's happening, man?
All good, dude. How you doing?
Well, it's very early here. I'm fine, though. I'm fine. I'm going to try to convince my wife to let me go back to bed. We'll see what happens. Okay.
OBS virtual camera. No, frick.
It's
how do
okay.
how do I stream and show my camera at the same time?
I'm going to say that you're actually on your own, bro, because I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
I could never get it to work. Why is the cover all messed up here? Overlay.
Oh,
oh, it's supposed to be up here. I'm a silly boy. Here you go.
Oh, got a face cam.
There we go.
Wait,
there we
but
go.
now, oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm
All right,
seeing you.
but now I want to stream the podcast.
Oh God.
How do I do this? This is so confusing.
Ooh.
Hey.
I'm making everybody's face really big so we can all match Dreamcore.
Do you want me to zoom in a bit? I can zoom in.
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh.
I have issues with my ISP, so...
Okay. I can hear you, Sirgog. But your camera, I'm going to get a replacement photo for you, you think? Uh-oh.
Yeah, grab a replacement photo. My ISP is... they're going to do some physical repairs at my premises tomorrow, so I'm basically on mobile internet, which means that I'll be in and out, possibly.
Okay. Well, we'll do a janky podcast just like this janky launch that Grinding Gear Games gave us, right, guys? Totally fine.
Oh, damn.
Oh, the burn already. I should have saved that for the pod. Damn it. Okay, Sirgog. Would you prefer an AI photo, Sirgog, or would you like your profile picture?
Go with whatever, mate. Go with whatever. Surprise me.
All right.
If you end up like putting up something really disturbing, then that'll be funny.
I mean, Evil Gog might be fun because that picture's amazing. Do I have that?
Is that the Valorb? What is that the one that's... No, did I ever do my face on a Valorb? I did.
I haven't. Did you do your face on a Valorb?
The Geonor one.
The Geonor,
yeah. The Geonor.
Yeah, I'm grabbing that one here. Where is the Geonor one?
I'm gonna raid. Talkative, try it. I'm gonna raid you.
You
this
are?
Is
you sure?
Yeah, I'm just gonna raid you. Otherwise, it's like it's too confusing. But
if you want to restart your stream after Lolcohol, I can raid
exactly.
you. Yeah, I'll raid you after.
Yeah.
I'll do a counter raid. Yep. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, sweet. All right, YouTube. I don't know how to raid on YouTube. Raid.
Oh, there's like a redirect thing, but it's very complicated on YouTube. I don't know how to make it work.
I'll just get a link for it. I'll get a link for your YouTube stream.
Okay.
Can you zoom
Yeah, I
me
think
out a little?
No,
I
you
feel
gotta
like
be massive.
YouTube only
Yeah,
works
I
on
can
scheduled
zoom you out. Yeah.
stream, doesn't it?
Say again.
You can only rate on YouTube on a scheduled end of stream, right?
I believe so. Sirgog. Yeah. Like a redirect thing. I've never
Yeah.
tried it. I need to go
Okay.
into Discord to get Evil
I tell you
Gog.
what you do with that. There's one thing it's good with, and that is redirecting a stream onto one of your premieres.
Ah, that's a good idea.
All right. Okay.
So if you're premiering a video at 9:30, then you end your stream at 9:27.
Right. Oh, guys, we have talked a lot. There's Evil Gog. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys ready for Evil Gog? It's going to be good.
Yes.
Sirgog. Whoa. Whoa, Lolcohol, bro.
You see my snus?
Yeah, that was
my little
wild. That
snus?
scared me. I wasn't looking
Sorry.
at Discord and then the jump scare. Okay. All right, we've got Evil Gog coming in. All right. I think the audio levels are good on your end too, Sirgog.
Yeah.
I didn't test everybody else. Look, okay, local, I think you're good too.
Okay.
I'll do a quick test after that. I'm just watching them on my end. They look good. Evil. Sirgog Evil. That's what I saved it as.
Because the
Okay.
hardware setup I've got at the moment is literally just using a mobile phone like it's on speaker.
Beautiful.
Ooh,
Look at that.
that was a jump scare.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is beautiful. This is so beautiful. All right, how about we do it like this? Basically centered. Okay.
Let me just ping my thing.
This is good. This is good. Yeah, well, I'll have to do an announcement at the beginning so YouTube VOD viewers aren't like, what is going on? Count Gogganor. Oh my gosh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Who said that? UNCUT? Okay. Let's see. All right. Anybody want to be less? Let me. How much less can I zoom you in? No, I can't. I can't do it much. Dreamcore.
I feel like I'm too zoomed in. Just like
I can make you tinier.
Out.
You have a wide.
Mine's fine.
Zoom in
Mine's
more
fine.
on
You
him.
can leave mine. Fine.
Yours is good.
More?
Let me see.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
how much room I have. Oh yeah, you have lots of space on that side. What am I doing? Look at that. That's you, right? Is that your background?
Yes.
Look. Oh, there it is.
I
There's
won't
the
do that
cut.
again. Don't worry.
Oh, you're good.
Promise.
You're good. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, I don't like
Okay.
that green. I always got to get rid of the green. Okay. Quick sound check. Quick sound check. Dreamcore, let's start with you.
Yeah, mic test 1 2 1 2 testing, volume check.
That's beautiful. To me. Chat, how is he looking? Let me know.
Volume test 1 2.
Perfect, Dreamcore. Okay, local, go one more time.
Check. 1 2 1 2. Hello. Check.
Ooh,
Am I fine?
I might have to turn you up. He's
Also
good?
good?
He's good? Okay. Yeah. I guess.
Am I quiet?
No.
See? Oh, everyone says solid. All right. Now Sirgog.
You were like a little outside of the yellow when you were just speaking normally, but that's fine. That's fine. I think you're good.
Okay. You can.
Everybody says you're
All
good.
right.
If I notice it, I'll just boost you a tiny bit. You're
Yeah.
perfect.
So Shiro can shout.
Okay, go for it.
If someone's a bit loud.
Okay. And then guys, I don't have enough monitors to see Discord, so communicate in the Google Sheet if you'd like to. If you want me to see something.
Okay.
You know, there's like an emergency. And Sirgog,
I
let's
won't
go
be
for
able
it.
to see the Google Sheet.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just FYI, I can't see the Google Sheet. I'm on mobile at the moment. So sound check. Alexa, play Baby Shark. Check. 1 2.
It would be beautiful if we started hearing Baby Shark in the background.
That is criminal.
How does he sound, you guys?
It's just, I know you're streaming at the moment, and it's like one of those harmless troll things you can do when someone's streaming. It's like, it's always the reminder, hey, there's someone on here.
Good? All good? Sweet. Okay. Wow. Audio. Wait.
Can I recommend? Can I ask for one more thing? Can you
Yeah.
just pull my cam a little bit to the left
Yep.
so I'm more in the center?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
driving
yeah,
me
yeah.
crazy.
You are, dude. You are fine. How about that? Good.
A
Right
tiny
there?
bit more. So like
Tiny bit more.
yeah.
So your mic
yeah.
is on the pointer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Okay. Yep. You're good. Okay. All right.
There you
I think
go.
you're set now.
There, perfect. Nice.
Now I want the A and dad to be on the pointer too. That's what I'm going to use as like the. There you go. Ooh, perfect. Okay.
Oh,
I think we should be set. Omega Cybers wants access to the sheet. Yes, you can have access. That's fine. And then we'll get started. Thank you guys. Here you go. Okay. All right. Any other tech
Yep.
things? Think we're all good?
just
Lolcohol is
yeah, I
quite
think we're
still.
good.
You're very still, Lolcohol. Why are you so still?
Still,
Still.
Must-
You look
must
you're
I
pretty
move?
animated. Yeah. Oh, wait, I gotta fix something.
Oh,
I saw a little green.
a little
Drives
green?
me the Discord outline.
Oh, okay.
I just need to cut you a little bit more. You're good.
All
Good.
right.
I just had to do it on my end. Okay, Sirgog is very still. Okay, yep, you're very funny. People are funny. Okay, yep. He's not gonna move, guys. I can't animate the photo. It's not happening. Oh, we could do like a VTuber GOG with the count GOG. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Did you guys have any questions on how I thought we could do this, where we could like bounce between the topics and see, was this a step forward, a step back, give everybody's takes? That makes sense? Per the sheet?
Yeah, all good.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Just holding thumbs up at the.
I
I'm holding
believe
thumbs
you.
up at a camera that's turned off, which doesn't work.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. Sounds good. I'll do the opening and we'll hop right into our general opinions on the patch so far, you guys, okay? All right. YouTube intro. Oh god. How am I gonna intro? I should really practice these like in front of the mirror, like this is a school presentation sometimes.
You're so good at them. What are you talking about? Just trust yourself.
Let's see.
You're so good at them.
I know I'm slow mind now. I'm like Sirgog from last podcast because it's what 5 a.m. for you last time. Oh god, that's rough, man. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 3rd episode of the Pod of Exile, a Mobalytics podcast all about Path of Exile 2, specifically Path of Exile 2 Early Access. We are already 3 weeks into Path of Exile 2's first major patch, Dawn of the Hunt, and to say it was a polarizing release might be a bit of an understatement. From the mouths of Grinding Gear Games themselves, this was their rockiest launch of all time. Going all the way back to the earliest days of Path of Exile 1, looking at Expedition, looking at Lake of Kalandra. In the eyes of Jonathan, one of the founders, this was among the worst. So, we are here, hopefully, with some measured opinions and takes about this patch as a whole, everything introduced, everything that has been discussed to death the past 3 weeks, here to talk with each other about it all. And I'd like to remind you all, this is a podcast that is juiced by Mobalytics, and if you want any of our builds, any guides to the systems in the game, any deep dives into specific unique items, like one of the new chase items of the patch, the Deepest Tower, you can find all that under our names on Mobalytics for PoE 2. So, you guys, I thought it would be great if we started just giving our 1,000-foot view of this patch and how we've experienced it so far. We don't need to deep dive into anything, just a surface level perception of, okay, this is how I see PoE 2 at the moment. And let's start with, we started with Sirgog last time. Let's start with Dreamcore this time. What are your thoughts on the patch so far, man?
So I would say after all the small changes they made, all the fixes and things like that, they're definitely going in the right direction now. The release patch wasn't great. There was a lot of things wrong with it. And I think that in a lot of ways, it wasn't really a patch that people expected overall. in terms of like what was actually added to the game, right? Things weren't there that people were expecting. Things were there that people weren't expecting. But overall, you know, it's a 4-month patch. I think that it's been a little bit disappointing for some people, but I do think they're moving in the right direction now. You know, there's a lot of small change. They have reacted very positively to, you know, the Zizarin interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that whole discussion there, I know that it was very intense. You know, watching that was it was. I mean, from my perspective, it was actually quite entertaining watching that, because I think that in a lot of ways, a lot of the community were watching that interview and they were, you know, they were liking what they were saying, because in a way it was a bit of a wake up call for, you know, for Jonathan and for Mark and for just them in general, because there's a lot of these things that perhaps they knew about, or they kind of knew about them, but they didn't really have a good understanding of what exactly was the problem, right? So hearing it like just laid out for them like that was an important thing, and they've reacted very well to it. Like within days, they were making important changes. Some of those changes should have been in the first patch, like for example the bleeding stuff, right? Like how on earth did that? They knew about that back in January, but they just didn't do anything about it. Right, so yeah. I don't know how that sort of stuff, but still, they have made the changes. They've started to make those changes. So, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, overall for me though, the patch is going in the right direction. I think there's a lot of end game changes that they've made that were important and are good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's a great rundown. And that Zizarin interview, I think that's gonna be a famous one. And watching it live, I had to stop my stream because some people were reacting poorly to it, and I, like you, I watched it in full after again. That was entertaining and so productive. It was insane, like, to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just to and to watch everybody's reactions just vividly. Oh, it was good.
Yeah, there was one moment in that interview where there was just complete silence for like 10 seconds because Jonathan and Mark were both thinking about how to answer this question, and I just burst out laughing. I was just like, you could cut it with a knife. Like, the tension was insane. It was crazy. I mean, obviously in the first half of that interview, you could tell that Jonathan was very defensive. Like, some of the things that he was saying just didn't make any sense. There was at one point they were talking about defenses.
Oh, dude.
And he basically said that because people like to build offensively, like, that's why they give them all these tools to build offensively. But because there's not many people who like to build defenses, they don't bother with defenses. Which is just you could tell for sure right there that at that moment when he said that, he was not thinking straight. Like, he was in full defense mode. Just yeah.
You think so? Okay, all right. Because I
hope so. But either way, Mark was there, and I think Mark definitely understood what was being said about defenses. And we already know what he feels about it with defenses in PoE1 because he's made some amazing changes there. But
yeah, it's so good. I went into the patch just full positivity mode because things were just so out of hand that you couldn't even have measured discussions on stream. If you even gave like a tiny bit of wiggle room for like level-headed discussion about the state of the game, it just spiraled so quickly. It just went into mayhem where people were just trying to like doom spiral or like make other people feel bad or just be angry. So I went into the league just I'm focusing on all the good stuff, all right? And then like if I have concerns, I'm writing it down on another screen. But I had to really just go full turtle mode and protective, just for my own mental health, man. Because it was crazy. Everyone was just so emotional about it. And the thing is, the more I played, the more I've thought about it, I'm actually feeling more frustrated than I did at the start. Like at the start, I was actually just having fun and like playing the game and focusing on the good stuff, and then. Like the thing Dreamcore said about the defenses, which you're being quite generous about in like good faith. There were some answers in that were genuinely quite concerning and makes me think like, is this going to be the game I want it to be? Or are these like, are they still thinking about this, or was that said, without properly thinking about it? And yeah, I'm genuinely, weirdly more worried than I was at the start of the league, even though I think the changes they have made are good. But I think there's some fundamental design things that I am extremely not on board with, and decisions being made that I don't understand. And I don't know if they are even able to be justified. And I just hope that those things are going to be addressed. And I would love to do that kind of sit down like Ziz did, but just have it on one or two topics. Just hyper focus. Today we're speaking about defenses. Today we're speaking about the tree. Instead of like those dev interviews they do, often they are done with different kinds of people, or they're very general, or the first question will be, tell us how you started at GGG. I don't care, not to be rude or anything. I've heard that story a bunch. I want to like get in the nitty-gritty of why is the passive tree like this, and do you actually think it's good, or are you actually going to make it better because it's not in a good state? Why are defenses like this? Why is the balance of like, why is crafting like this? So I'm like, the foundations are excellent. The balancing is extremely frustrating, especially in the end game.
Yeah, I think that's a sensible take too, Lolcohol. And I think your fear is, or your building frustration. I've felt that too more and more, right? And I've been playing a lot in private, and it's especially on like the item front, especially and we'll dive into this a little bit later, everybody watching, especially after like playing LE a little bit. And I have qualms with that game, but compared to PoE 2, I spent 20 minutes yesterday on trade for PoE 2, and I massively improved every single piece of gear that I have found in my entire 40 hours, 45 hours of playing so far in 20 minutes. And afterward, I just logged off. I felt really bad. I was like, well, that doesn't feel that great. Like, I just replaced everything I've ever done, but I think that'll come with time. I think, and that's one of the things that maybe we dive into this a little bit right now with you as well, Sirgog. I'm not leaving you out. I see you there. You're still, by the way, he's still, because his internet service provider is doing some work on his internet. So he's calling in on his phone right now. He's here with us, right, Gog?
I am, although I've just come back after, I think you might have seen in Discord chat, I was, hey, I missed half of what Lolcohol said towards the end there, but I am back again.
Fantastic. All right. I knew he was here. I knew he was gone. I knew he was here now. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I was meaning to say, grinding your games, shockingly, right? They've been working on this game for a long time, right? They built Path of Exile 1, and they still, right now, have so many fundamental design decisions about their game not decided on, which is shocking to me. Is that shocking to you guys? Like, because that's what I'm hearing, Lolcohol. You're talking about defenses or like the passive skill tree. And I know it's early access, and I know that a lot is going to change and that they want feedback, but I'm still shocked that they don't have like the ability. You say have a one-on-one conversation about these specific topics. Will they have like a solid viewpoint, or is all this like moldable? Like is it set? Is any of it set in stone? Right? I don't know.
No. I don't believe it's set in stone. Oh, actually, wait. Let Dreamcore and Sirgog take it. There's a delivery here, and then I'll keep going. All right.
Go for it.
I'll be
all right. Well, here's like, I think Grinding Gear Games have made a couple of key mistakes early on in this. The first one is committing to not nerfing things mid-league. In early access, it's essential to be able to nerf things. That's how we got 3 months of Archmage, and as a result, no one knowing what the proper power level should be going into 0-2-0. So Grinding Gear Games are like, okay, we just giga nerf everything, and then we'll slowly buff things back to where they were. They really need to repeal that. And honestly, if they don't repeal that, we're not going to nerf things mid-league. It's questionable whether 0-3-0 is going to be worth playing. I think I go that far. The second thing I think they've gotten really wrong, and I was thinking about this when we were discussing what we should talk about in this podcast. I think their big mistake was opening up all map tiers early. I think that's the single biggest mistake they've made. if
what do you
they'd
mean by that?
opened, so if they'd started the game with map tier 10 being the top, Waystone tier 10, sorry, being the top tier, then that would mean that they could get a feel for how tough things actually are, how powerful players actually are, and then they could balance 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 accordingly. But because they've already gone and thrown in everything up to 16, you get to this point where players are used to blitzing 16s from 0-1-0, and the idea that you might face a little bit of resistance in 13s is just it's not in line with players' expectations.
Mm.
So I think now their only real way of bailing out of this mess they've put themselves in is by adding new map tiers going beyond the 16 tiers that we've got now, and then have it so that up to and including 15, 16 can be blitzed. But that's sort of not where you want to be, having that much power creep early on. But yeah, I don't know. I know what they can do really to fix that, but that was a big mistake, I reckon.
Yeah.
I know how. I assume you're talking about like the end game was a little bit harder this time around, and people were hitting struggle points earlier than previously, right? Is that the TLDR?
Correct, yeah, because
Correct. Okay, the solution
day one was much easier.
Yeah. So the problem currently is that there are not enough tools to solve problems, and there is not enough player agency to tackle those problems, even if there is a solution. So currently players are forced to either grind like crazy or resort to the trade site. I feel there's very few like not I don't want to say deterministic, but clear pathways to solving problems or improving your build other than grinding, hoping for a drop, making that sale, going on the trade site and buying what you need. And then even that's like best case scenario. Worst case scenario is I keep dying and like the mitigation layer that I need doesn't exist in the game, or I need to scale my HP. I cannot scale it any further. There's no percent life on the tree. There's none of this. Okay, what do? Go ES. And that's like that is frustrating, man. I don't mind struggling if there is a clear pathway to overcoming that struggle. The frustration comes when it's like I'm struggling and there's like nothing I can do about it, or I have to go ES because that's the only solution. That's when I'm like, I kind of don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, that's again. So just like the bleeding change, like how did they not address life and armor in this patch? Like what's going on there? I don't know. They made a lot of balance changes. A lot of them we didn't even know about, right? That's another thing we can talk about, is the fact that we didn't know about any of the major balance patches, like any of the major balance changes, sorry, like to skill gems before the patch even started. Like we didn't have that time to plan any builds or anything like that. We just went into the game. We had the data mined gems to look at, and that was about it. Like one day before or not even a day.
Now, why do you think that was? Do you think that was to stop the wildfire?
Like, a lot of those balance changes were coming in very, very late. We even heard that from GDG. This was like in the Ziggy D interview. They said that those changes were coming in like constantly. So those changes were not being tested, and we immediately recognized that those changes weren't being tested because all of those balance changes affected the campaign in a big way, and the campaign felt terrible as a result. So, and that was the real big point of this patch, right? Was the campaign, because if you take all of the other things, like a lot of it is just they've been fixing minor things, but they had to make some emergency patches to the campaign because it was just they had completely skewed the progressions of the campaign. It was like, I remember watching that Crypt video where he's just like complete glass cannon minion build, and his minions are taking like 10 hits to kill like those Faradin infantry, like white mobs. They would just walk towards him. The minions are just like punching 10 times for one of those white monsters to die. I mean, that is just what has happened there, right? That's something seriously wrong has happened there, So I don't know that. I think that is one of the things they were trying to get tons of stuff in. None of it was tested, right? And they were making mistakes along the way, but all of those things were kind of piling up. And if it's not being tested, then I mean, Jonathan talks about that. He does a run every day, right? He goes home, plays the game through like the early stages. That should have been something that was picked up, but they couldn't pick it up because they were making all of those changes on the fly right before the patch.
So we've been seeing, right, we got 3 balance patches, essentially 3 or 4 that have already come into the game. And Sirgog, I know you mentioned that they decided not to do mid-league nerfs. Do you think this approach of, seasons of buffs, right, multiple buffs happening, as I think they said in one of the interviews, is an okay approach where they're actually going to be changing the game throughout these patches and not waiting until, I don't know, it's probably going to be, August or something until the next major balance patch?
Well, the way that I think about it is this, right? There is a point where there is a player power point where the game is the most fun. You might say that's 7 out of 10 power, just for argument's sake. If you've got a build that's 9 out of 10 power, then it's going to completely distort the entire league economy around it. That was the case with Archmage. That was the case with Trample Toe builds in 0-1-0. What Grinding Games have done, they've recognised how bad it is when you've got a 9 out of 10 build. So they've gone and nerfed everything preemptively, bringing everything down to 5. And then they've launched 0-2-0 at that point. And then actually at 5, characters are a bit less powerful. Now, some people like that, some people don't. But it ends up, this is the bind they're in. What they should be doing is aiming to get everything at 7, stuffing some of them up and hitting 6.5. Those ones you might buff, stuffing some of them up and hitting 7.5 or even 8 or even 8.5, and those ones you try and nerf a little bit. And that way you could do that if you're willing to have a nerf patch. But when you're not willing to have a nerf patch mid-league, then you just have to aim under. You have to, because it's worse to get something overpowered. It's like we've got now with Lightning Spear is like 50% of the league. Partly that's shiny and new, but mostly it's because Lightning Spear was a serviceable skill, then they gave it 26% more power. And that's basically an entire support gem.
Why? Tell me, somebody. Why?
It should have got 20% more speed, 15% less damage, and instead it got 5% more damage, and it still would have been fine. 20% more speed would have made it feel more fluid. 15% less damage, it still would have been just as good, but instead they went and they basically killed every other build close to it.
That was
by buffing something else past.
Yeah, that was a shocking change to me, because at that point
the build diversity in this league is actually worse than 0.1. Unironically,
that's a great one to start with.
There's like 55% of builds that are just all playing the same setup. All of them are Lightning Spear Amazons, right?
So that's a great topic to start with. Is just skill balance in general. Everybody here, I don't know how many characters you guys have each played or what skills you've played, but what are you guys playing right now? What have you kind of settled on or ended the league on? I know some people have stopped playing for the time being. Are we all Lightning Spear enjoyers, or we play? Of course not, you hipster. Dream, what are you playing?
So I played. Right now, I was playing a grenade character. I was doing some grenades, just testing out, seeing what they feel like.
Okay.
And I've also, I played through at the start. I was playing a tactician build with Twister, and looking at the projectile skills for the spear, which was, I mean, Twister was bugged at the start of the league. For anyone who doesn't know, it was probably dealing about 10 times as much damage as it should have been dealing overall.
Yeah.
Which was just completely ridiculous, and that made as soon as I switched to like the proper Twister setup towards like the end of Act 2, I just deleted everything. Like, I mean, you got the clips of like Lolcohol was playing a similar build to me, just one-shotting every boss, So after they nerfed that, the build was obviously considerably weaker, but it was still fully serviceable, and I progressed very quickly to tier 15 maps on that build. It was very strong. And then I switched. I kind of got a bit. So the play style of Twister is a little bit weird in that is very, very, very strong in enclosed areas. Like if you're playing like Ritual is crazy. You play Ritual, you just insta give everything in the Ritual. Like every time you click the Ritual, because the twisters bounce around the Ritual like the walls, right? So that's really strong. And some of the enclosed maps are very, very powerful as well. But some of the open maps, Twister just doesn't feel. It really doesn't feel good. You have your twisters just disappear, right? They just never come back because the map's so big. So yeah, I switched off of that, and I was playing some. I tested out grenades a bit because I know that they got buffed up. But right now, I've literally just started a fresh playthrough of SSF because I think I want to kind of see what that feels like now they've made the changes. I haven't heard great things about it, so I'm not really, I'm not that confident it's going to feel very good. But yeah, so I haven't played any lightning spear stuff, even though I have messed around with a lot of the other projectiles like explosive spear and stuff like that.
Okay, so we have a little bit of diversity here. Lolcohol.
A tiny bit. Yeah, I'm doing twisters, and I was just about to swap over to lightning spear, pretty much for the exact reasons that Dreamcore stated, which is that the build when I did Arbiter on that build, it was basically non-functional because the arena is too big for it to like bounce. So I was gonna swap to lightning spear, and then last Epoch happened. So I haven't done that swap yet. I also I don't know if I'm that motivated to even go back to that character and do lightning spear. I think I'm more interested in maybe doing like campaign stuff. But yeah, I feel like there's probably more builds than people realize, but I don't know.
They aggregate though. They go to the mean, you know.
There is a lot of builds. There is always a lot of builds in PoE. It's the same in PoE 1, right? But in PoE 1, like I think Sirgog said this in the first podcast that we did, a while back. Like if you're playing melee in PoE 1, you're playing Lightning Strike pretty much 95% of the time, because why wouldn't you, right? It's just you can't really play another strike skill because even though they look different and they kind of sometimes feel a little bit different, it's just inferior in almost every way, which is kind of how Lightning Spear feels like right now. Like if you're just playing a similar build that's not Lightning Spear, you're just making a mistake, which is really, really, really unfortunate. And that goes back to them they should be nerfing things, right? Because they can nerf that build without removing those players, right? I know that some people will quit the game when they get nerfed, all right? Make no mistake about it, that's going to happen. People are going to be like, right, they're nerfing me, I'm done. But I think a lot of people will, cut the power back 20%, 25%, and a lot of people will realize, okay, this build's been nerfed, but it's still fully functional. It's still, it still works just fine. I'm still able to progress. I'm still able to kill bosses, things like that. Like that's what they should be doing. They don't need to completely remove. They can nerf it big time towards the end of the league, like when they move into the next big release. But doing those like rolling nerfs in a league is a good idea, and buffs, right? Bringing things up, because then you get people playing those things. You get more testing, right? You get things actually. You get different bugs ironed out and stuff like that, and it ends up with a smoother progression of the game just getting better and better. I think we discussed this as well, how if you only have these one giant patch every sort of 3-4 months, you're definitely stunting the growth of the game. Like it's going to be a lot slower to actually get to that final destination, because you're like constantly moving the marker, right? You're like, okay, we're going to bring the power level down across the board by 40%, but they don't really realize that this thing is now completely broken, because they can't possibly realize that because no one's actually tested it. No one's tested it because in the previous patch, this other thing was 60% stronger and everyone was playing that instead, right? So that's...
I'm really imagining the best approach would be to do something like, have you guys, I think you guys have played like Dota 2? Anybody here?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, right.
I
the ice frog.
What? Of their idea, the coach. Yep, I have not.
Okay, well, you need to get on that, Sirgog. You might be lost for a while though if you start playing it. I'm done. I haven't played in like 3 years, but I have more hours in that game than Path of Exile by probably a factor of like 2 or 3. I think stupid amount of hours in that game. the way they did their patches, like, and I'm not talking about the big balance patches, right? The 7.36 or whatever. No, not any of that. They would have A, B, C, D, E, F patches where they're literally like, the armor on this hero increases by 2. Oh, the base attack time of this hero is decreased by 0.15. Like all these like constant minor, and I know you're laughing at it. They made a difference. Are you like thinking of the meme, like the armor?
I remember
meme?
the meme. Like I think it was Abaddon,
Right,
right?
so
That got
106%.
buffed by like 1 armor, like just constantly.
Yeah.
1 armor.
Yeah, it's I think it's a Wind Ranger and Doom keeps getting like +1 armor, and it's like, oh my god, I can't do any damage. Yeah, see, I'm thinking of that sort of like style of changes that they seem to not really want to do that though with a lot of skills. Like even with these buff patches that have come out, they only really focused on like Lightning Spear. Like they didn't touch any of the other like spear skills, which is weird. Where's my Fangs of Frost buffs? Come on, I want Fangs of Frost to work really bad.
Yeah.
I feel like that style of just minor tweaks constantly, and if nobody's playing it, okay, well, you know what? Increased damage by 5%. Okay, maybe the base attack time is, also increased by just minor, just minor buffs all throughout the league until it hits that threshold where people, oh wow, this is a good skill. I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna give it a go, and maybe it ends up being really fun and powerful. And I don't know. I think that'd be cooler than what they're doing now, or more entertaining and
the
more
other thing that
productive.
sometimes happens is that you get a skill that's just like that just feels satisfying. And here I'm thinking Path of Exile 1's Smite of Divine Judgment. This is a bad skill in terms of like I took it to Uber Cortex in Path of Exile 1, but that was on gear that could just smash, much harder Ubers like double Uber Elder if I was playing Lightning Strike. But I took it there, and the thing was, it was a fun play style. I liked the skill. The problem was that you just feel a few percent behind. But if they kept giving it a few percent at various times, it would have gotten over the threshold where suddenly you don't feel like you're crushingly behind someone that's playing the meta skill. You feel like you're able to play something, and it's like you can run the same content. Maybe you take 170 seconds a map instead of 155, but that's okay.
Yeah. And also
100%.
like all the combo skills need to be like, so you need to be really, really, really rewarded for doing that. Like Twister was in a cool spot because it was like a setup and payoff, but it gets to the point where it's just that setup is not worth the time compared to something like Lightning Strike, which is just front-loaded damage. And I feel like a lot of the balance also comes down to design decisions and the passive tree. I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but I feel like so many skills and so much of the tree is conditional. It's like if you have frenzy charges or power charges, this skill is now cool. Like it sucks, but now it's cool if you have charges. And then like the tree is if you've done this in the last X seconds, then this happens. Like there's so much of that. If you've parried recently, then this does more damage. If you have a frenzy charge, this skill is functional. Like make the skills fun to play. I think a good one is what's the Falling Thunder?
Yeah.
Like
charge?
make Falling Thunder just work the way it does with power charges, and then like with power charges, make it cooler, or even like have it consume. It's like the baseline is crap.
Yeah, that's actually a really big design problem.
Yeah, if you do all the things, then you get the power. And like this, they kind of alluded to this when I forget which interview it was, but Jonathan talking about like watching people playing the Huntress, and they were, like he didn't quite say it, but said like they're playing it wrong, quote unquote. That is like that freaked me out to hear, because I don't think you should be designing a class, skills, tree, anything that is so conditional that there is a right way to play it and a wrong way to play it. And if you play it the wrong way, you're punished for it and it doesn't function properly. Make the tools, have them interchangeable, and allow players to experiment, do crazy stuff, and have it so it functions. Not like, Huntress feels bad because you weren't using parry and disengage. Like, dude, I don't want to use parry and disengage. Make the stuff good so that it still
think it's
feels fun
fine, though, if
without that.
Like, if we
Yeah.
have 36 ascendancies and 12 classes, I think it's fine to have some that are super niche. The problem
Some,
then
yes.
is that if you release an expansion that focuses on something super niche, like the day one playstyle of the spear, then that's going to disappoint people that aren't interested in that niche.
Yeah, but it needs to be some stuff, not most things. If you look at the hunter's tree, like the tree feels so sparse and the power is so. I think this is actually, I'm gonna do a video on this, but one of the major problems currently is there's a huge power imbalance where players are getting power, especially during the campaign right now, is very imbalanced. So tree, I would say probably you break it down into like tree, skills and supports, and then items, right? Currently, your items are where the vast majority of your power is coming from, especially your weapon in the campaign, and then like your tree and your skills and support. That's secondary, and at the same time, players, there is practically no agency, no determinism. So one player's campaign experience can be completely different to another player's based on their RNG. Because if you're not getting enough power from your tree and your gems, and you get unlucky with your itemization, or if you're just not diligent enough to be doing all the chores of like checking the vendor, salvaging, doing this, going to this place to get the guaranteed thing. Like, if you're not doing all that stuff, your campaign experience is like vastly different from someone who is doing that stuff. And I don't think the right way to play the game is to do a whole lot of chores so that you are the adequate level of power. I think your power level should be at the point where you can play the game and just keep playing the game and you're killing stuff. And then if you want to go above and beyond and, constantly check your vendors and salvage everything and put sockets in your stuff, then you're like mega powerful. Then you feel really strong. But it currently feels like you are just punished for playing the game incorrectly right now. And I think one of the biggest things that needs to happen is just like reworking the tree, reworking gems and support gems, and reworking player agency, because it's not there and it's incredibly frustrating. The moment you feel like you're at the mercy of RNG and you get unlucky, that's when you get pissed off, because you're like, the vendors aren't selling the thing I need. The currency isn't hitting. The drops aren't coming. Like, what must I do? What must I do? And like,
was it you, Lolcohol, or someone else that was telling me that they were doing campaign runs, trying to get a personal best time, and if the early vendors didn't have Magic Find gear, they would reset. They'd start a new run.
That was
Sarge, right?
Sarge, yeah.
Yeah, Sarge. So it is literally like that. It's you are at the mercy of RNG, and this is one of the most frustrating things, is that it feels like they are so scared to give players anything, and I don't know why. I guess I do know why. If you go overboard, you end up with Diablo 3, where you're giving players too much, and then they quit after 2 days because they've got everything. But I feel like this is the other side of that spectrum, where you are like so stingy with everything, stingy with like crafting currencies, like stingy with crafting mechanics, stingy with like odds on recombinators, and like functionality of things that make the game more fun to play. Why?
I think
Why?
the thing is,
wanna go
you
back to
can't
that.
take that stuff away.
You can't
And,
take
like,
that stuff away.
You can't take that. They're afraid to take that stuff away because of backlashes in the past in Path of Exile 1. Like, remember when they removed Harvest after Harvest was like a mirror printing facility for the top 0.1%, and was completely out of reach of most people to use in any meaningful way. I remember the horror that was buying 34 remove add chaoses, and that was in 3.11, so the most powerful Harvest ever was. And yeah, I remember just sitting there in TFT buying these things that were cheap, but it was just such a miserable experience. And this was how you crafted your gear. The thing is, they then have to decide, are we designing, like, taking again 3.11 Path of Exile 1, do we design endgame content for the person that has done that chore of sitting in TFT and powering up every single piece of gear they've got? Or do we design it for everyone else? And the wider that you make that gulf, the less content can be used to please both groups of players. That's the problem if they power players up too much, because lots of people aren't going to find these power-ups. I think what they need to do is focus on raising the floor of character power somehow. So making it so that if you haven't got a 125 PDPS weapon by the time you're meant to have one, that you have an easy way of getting one. And guess what? Path of Exile 1 had that solved a long time ago, and it's called vendor recipes.
Yep, exactly. There were so many semi-deterministic or even entirely deterministic systems that existed that have just been taken out. You had vendor recipes, you had the crafting bench, you had essences, Reforge even. I mean, if you don't want to go as far as Reforge, these systems did exist as backup plans or even just things that you could do to power up your character. And a lot of what I've been hearing is, oh, but we can't. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it sort of feels like, oh, if we put that in the game, some people might not know about it, and then that's not good.
Show them.
Dude, either yes, show them, introduce it to them, or have stuff in the game where you are rewarded for knowing about it. Like that's
cool too.
Path of Exile. Path of Exile is knowledge. You are a better player if you know more stuff. So if you know the vendor recipe, you're rewarded. Like, why is this stuff? Why have they taken away all the the control? It's so frustrating.
I want to actually go back to a thing that Lolcohol was talking about before about the charges on skills, right?
Okay.
Because one of the big things that I find with the design of, and it's not just skills, but it's a lot of things in Path of Exile 2, it really does feel like that there's a system that's been designed to be played in one way and one way only. And there is like a restrictive feeling of the game is on rails. Like, it's just, for example, like, why is there, okay, so let's talk about the Herald skills, right? Like Herald of Ice, Herald of Lightning, I don't really mind them being tied to a martial weapon because they're designed as like attack type skills, like it deals attack damage, right? Why is Herald of Blood tied to a martial weapon, right? We have the Blood Mage in the game. They made it so spells can inflict bleeding. Why can't I play a bleed build with a wand, right? Or a scepter? Why is it locked to martial weapon, right? What's going on there? And it's very similar to all of those Huntress skills as well that they added. And I call them Huntress skills. Obviously, anyone can use them, but it's like here's a skill that deals mediocre damage if it's used without a charge, and it's been balanced in a way that really it's only useful if it actually consumes a charge, right? If it consumes a charge, then the skill is really good. So one of the best examples I can think of is Explosive Spear. Anyone who played around with Explosive Spear in this patch, such a satisfying skill to use when you consume a frenzy charge. It is awesome. You just chuck it down, big explosion, big ignited ground, right? Everything on that patch just dead. If you use it without a charge, I'm just circling the mobs for like 3 seconds because I've got to wait for it to explode, right? And by the way, like, otherwise I need to predict where the mobs are running because it takes so long to explode and the mobs are too fast that they just move out of it, right? Now, that skill has been designed to use with the frenzy charge. It's been designed in such a way that you do not want to use it without a frenzy charge. And therefore, you then need to find a way to gain a frenzy charge. And they've designed it in this very particular way where it's like, okay, you're meant to parry, get a frenzy charge, then you use this skill. But it's like, okay, parry just doesn't work in this game, by the way. Like, it literally cannot work in a game where you're getting surrounded by monsters. Like, I can't just stand there and parry. I'm just dead. Okay, that's just what's going to happen. And while we're on the topic of parry, by the way, because I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, why can I not use shield skills with a buckler? Why can't I use shield charge? Why can't I use resonating shield with a buckler? It's a shield. It has block. What is going on there? Like, what is the design of that?
I don't know. It falls into that, like, everything is restrictive, and everything you have to play the right way with the right skills and the right this, and you're not allowed to. It's like a lot of you're not allowed to do that. And why? Why can you not use heralds with spells? Why? Like, what is the reasoning behind that? Let me do it. It's fun. I want to do it. And if it's too strong, then like make it, I don't know, 50% less effective while
I do
using
think the
with
weapon
spells, or, like,
locked skills overall has been a massive step back from PoE1. I've got
Yeah,
to say that
agreed.
because even though there is this thing in PoE1, the reason why like whole weapon locking skills and things, a lot of it is balance based. Obviously, like we have Void Forge, we have Face Breakers, like a lot of the things that are the type of weapon locking over there is a balance thing rather than a flavor thing, right? Whereas it's like we've got these mace skills, big heavy hitting mace skills, you know what they were going for with those. But I do think they would benefit from blending them a little bit. Like, for example, let some of those heavy staff skills, right? Like the Falling Thunder, that kind of stuff. Why not let it be used with a mace, right? And bring some of those quarterstaff things over to the mace skills, right? Like some of those, just do a bit of mix and match and stuff like that. Like I don't think you necessarily need to have all of these things locked into one particular thing, because when you do it like that, what happens then is like every build of that particular weapon starts to look the same, right? Because they are so shoehorned into one thing. That's just it. Like, I mean, right now, if you're using a mace, you're pretty much always using the same skills. You know, you're using well, at the moment, people are still using auto attack because it's still really good, sadly. And the other skills are not that great. But, you know, people are still going to be using Hammer of the Gods. They're going to be using Perfect Strike. It's just, you're just going to use, that's all you have. That's the options you have. You chose Mace. I'm sorry. That's what you've got, right?
That's what you got. I agree, 100%.
I do like, though, that I like the fact that there is this actual reason to use weapons other than a couple of specific things. Like in Path of Exile 1, you use a specific unique weapon, you use Ephemeral Edge, so therefore you're on one-handed sword skills. Otherwise, it's pretty much you use a claw because claws are just better than everything else in general. And I think the fact that we've got more weapon lock skills is a good thing. I think they might have taken too much of a good thing, though, in PoE 2. And I think the right happy medium for both games is probably in between both extremes. Probably somewhere where some skills can be used with every weapon group. Most skills can be used with one or two, but there's just a bunch of things in between. Just whatever makes thematic sense for the particular skill.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'd like to see. Like, let's have Earthquake be used with a quarterstaff, right? Let's have a few of those skills that like would actually make sense thematically. Let's have them be used with different weapons. You don't have to do it with all of them. Like, for example, Hammer of the Gods, that stays as a mace skill. That is fundamentally a mace skill. It's literally a hammer, right? Let's just keep that as what it is. But let's just have some. Let's have some of those skills flipping over, and like, yeah, let me use Shield Charge with the buckler. Like, what's going on?
So 2 questions for you guys. 1, assuming that they keep weapons locked to, or skills locked to specific weapons, do you think this problem fades away in, let's say, 2 years, 3 years, when every weapon has, I don't know, 40 plus skills? Or do you think it's always going to exist, as you guys kind of just hinted at, wherein you're always going to want to use some of these skills with multiple different weapons? Like, I love the Falling Thunder example. I love it.
Overwhelming number of skills if they get to that point. Like, how many skill gems are there in PoE 1 now? It's like 400 and something.
They have to, though, right? What are they going to do? Have they thought this far? Uh-oh.
They are going to keep adding skills, but the thing is, even if they add skills, you're still going to have the same problem of weapon type builds looking the same, because weapon type builds, how the game works is people gravitate to the best skills, and you know, like you will see it in PoE 1, right? You will see, like, for example, Lightning Strike right now. You'll see a lot of Ephemeral Edge builds, right, using Lightning Strike. But you will also see other setups of Lightning Strike, but they're all still using that skill because it's good, and it's going to be the same in PoE 2, where these 4 mace skills are just, or 3 mace skills, whatever they are just better than the rest. And therefore, those are the skills you gravitate towards and use as a mace build. Like, even if there's another 50 options that you could choose, that's just what happens, I'm afraid. That's how balance works. Most people want to play the strongest build. You know, there are people that are
it
hipsters,
necessarily
but
gets to that point. I don't think it needs to be, the balance needs to be that bad that there is a clear, unanimously identified, this skill is more than 10% better than anything else. Like in Path of Exile 1, we clearly have a situation, again, we'll go with attacks, weapon attacks, it's clearly Lightning Strike is head and shoulders above everything else. Just Lightning Strike without considering the Val version would be a high tier skill, like it'd be an A tier skill. And then it has a godly Val skill as well. Contrast that to something like Double Strike, which is probably a C tier skill but has an A tier Val skill. And then there's just not much else. But if Lightning Strike was really brought down a peg, let's say that Val Lightning Strike was entirely removed and Lightning Strike was given a 20% slower attack speed. That probably kills the skill. If it doesn't kill it, it's close. Then at that point, you suddenly have a whole bunch of skills that people would play. There's Frostblades, there's, trying to think what else would be solid tier at that point. Smite, probably, not on every weapon. Smite wants different weapons to everything else. You'd have, obviously, Bone Shatter's already somewhat playable. You'd have a whole bunch of other skills that would be in that Frostblades tier. I'm not talking Frostblades Catabasis, that's another outlier as well. I'm talking classic Frostblades. So it is possible to have a situation where some people look at Frostblades and say, this is mathematically 3% worse than Smite, but it inflicts freeze, therefore I prefer it to Smite. And then another person can go and say, hey, I'm going to be playing Smite because Smite does more damage than Frostblades, therefore I think it's better. That's what I think we want to have, is a situation where players don't agree on what's best.
yeah.
And players can't really work it out in a league. That is something that I think we could get to, and I think it is possible to have that even if we do have weapon lock skills forever in this game.
Here's the other thing. We're having this debate now, patch 1 of early access. Do you guys think this is just going to happen every single release until we get to full launch? And when I'm talking about 53% Lightning Spear, are 62% of people going to be playing Maul Druid or Maul Bear, in 0.9? Because Druid's not coming anytime soon. I've accepted that. But with this sort of addition coming to the game, where things are clearly not thoroughly tested, is all the balance talk kind of moot until we're in full release? Or do you think they can get to a better state?
If they continue on this path to do one big release every 3 or 4 months and no nerfs in the mid-league, we will always have this 1 or 2 or 3 outliers that are just ridiculous compared to everything else. It will always be the case. They cannot possibly... They don't have any way of testing the game like we do. We have mass scale testing that happens in the first few days of the league. There's a crazy amount of players logging in, right? And the sort of people who play the most and already know how the game works and things like that, they will find those broken builds within days, right? That's just how it works. And yes, this is going to happen every single patch. Like there will always be something which is unbelievably broken compared to everything else, because the game has too many moving parts, and they're not willing to do the small nerfs in the mid patch, which would definitely help them understand better what's going on in terms of like mechanical interactions and how busted things get. Right, that's because that's what's going on. Usually, it's a case of here's something which is kind of weak, and now it's really strong, and suddenly there's all of these things that are like stacking on top of each other to make this build ridiculous. But they couldn't possibly understand that in the previous patch because nobody tested that build, nobody tested that skill because it was bad, right? It was so unbelievably... Like, I'll give an example. Like, this is not a very good example for this patch, but there's a skill called Siege Cascade in PoE 2, right? And in the last patch, it was dealing 50% more damage to immobilized enemies. In this patch, it's dealing 200% more damage to immobilized enemies. There's an example of that skill just wasn't tested, right? Now it's dealing ridiculous amounts more damage. It also has higher base damage in this patch as well, by the way, so it's even more of a multiplier than that. But that's just an example right there of this skill was so unbelievably undertuned, and it's still not even, like, compared to other crossbow skills, it's still pretty weak, actually. The other ones are still much better than it. So that's just a good example there of they can't possibly be testing these things very well because that thing was so unbelievably undertuned, right, that it needed a gigantic buff to even get it remotely close to everything else.
Yeah. Man, I really hope that they can power through people getting upset about nerfs, and because I think it's just good for the game, and I think it's good for a lot of the players who are just playing the game and not necessarily like angry about nerfs online. It seems like they're willing to shift some of their design decisions, obviously after that Sis interview, all the things that they've changed so far. I hope that's one thing they reverse course on, right? I know that they came out and said, we're definitely not going to do it, but I think if they nerfed Lightning Spear next week, even though I'm playing Lightning Spear, I'd be happy about that. Buffed up some other skills, Fangs of Frost. I'm gonna keep shouting that out. By the way, apparently that's the skill that Jonathan used in his playthrough for Huntress, like his latest playthrough, which is shocking to me. Do you guys also know? So, okay, I'll complain. I'll complain about something.
Yeah.
Okay, with Fangs of Frost, I think it's only Fangs of Frost. Maybe there are others. You don't use a frenzy charge to detonate its special thing. You need the enemy to be parried. So it's like the parry charge, right? And then there's a big frost nova that occurs. Why is it the only one that needs you to parry something? What is this? Like,
also, that one is just, I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. Like, why is there a skill that only works after after a parry? Like,
I don't know. I gotta
think
complain
about it, right?
because I love
a bunch of skills use both mechanics.
If it would use, that'd be great. But you have to parry. And originally, like in Act 1, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I get to Act 2, and I'm like, no. And then I get to Act 3, in the very first area where you're getting swarmed by bugs and zombies, and I'm like, I can't parry it. I'm done. I gotta swap out of the skill. Like,
yeah,
it's such a cool
Parry
skill.
doesn't work in that context. Yeah,
no,
it just
not
doesn't.
at all.
It just does. As soon as you get deeper into the game, parry does not work. It's very similar to active block, right? Active block,
yeah.
Very cool idea. Doesn't work in Path of Exile. Does not work. Like you. Okay, if I'm playing like Elden Ring, I can imagine like holding up my shield. Yeah, damn, that's gonna work like all game, right? I'm fighting like 2 monsters at a time. Like, that's great. When I'm in the middle of a map and I'm getting like owned by monsters left, right, they're behind me. I'm just getting charged by like there's some quadrillas jumping on me. There's those like porcupine crabs firing stuff at me from the front. This active block thing or parry does not work.
No, it doesn't.
And also, the way how Jonathan talks about it is as if like it's the be all and end all. Like at the end of the day, I could use this in Act 1 and it would actually feel pretty good against some of these monsters. As soon as I start getting deeper and deeper into the game, this skill just doesn't do anything. Like there's not. By the time I've parried and then used my follow-up skill, which is, benefiting from the parry, I could have thrown 3 lightning spears and killed the entire map, right?
Exactly.
Like,
I feel there's a lot of instances where I've been playing and I'm thinking, I don't want to speculate, but I think like, have they actually been in this scenario that I am in right now? Like they must have. But at the same time, so let's just say an example, like what you're talking about with parry. Someone who works on the game must have tried to use parry in the end game and gone, oh, this is non-functional, right? Or another example is with expedition crafting. Someone has to have tried to use that system and realize this is so bad that it might as well not even be in the game. And it's very confusing that I wonder, one, is this is this how it's supposed to be? Like, is this intentional? Or two, have they not tested this? Or I don't know. There's so many things that are really confusing where you think like there's no way that they've played this and thought it was okay. Or either that or I'm
With
crazy
Expedition, are you
and they
talking
do
about
think
the
that.
recombination though? Because
I'm talking
recombination
about
is
like
really strong. It's just it's
Yeah.
narrow.
Here we
People
go.
try and make it do things it's not meant, that it's not good
Oh.
at.
Yeah, I was more referring to like rog crafting, which is
Oh.
Yeah,
borderline
that's right.
useless, and also like recombinators. Yes, they are strong, but it is such a it's just such a yucky process. It's so tedious and chory that
Like
it's yeah.
recombinators, people try to make it to try and use them to make dream items. That's not what they're for. They're there
No.
for getting 2 excellent mods on the same item in bulk, so that you can then quad slam it. And
Again, which is that's I don't love that. Can I mean, I guess we're dipping our toes into crafting now, right? So I guess one of the major problems with crafting right now is that there is no cross pollination with the different systems, or very little. And again, I don't know
recombination in essences.
well, wait, what? That doesn't. Yeah, okay, you. That's one thing, but
Like you make your essence, you fail your greater essence slam, and then you
Yeah.
go, all right, well, I'll rescue the good mod. I'll rescue the premium mod on this by giving it a shot in the recombinator.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get that. But it comes down to you end up just doing a very, very tedious process where it's like gather a bajillion bases, try get the thing with the essence. So I think, for example, a system that I think would function better, right? Instead of having essences only function on normal and magic rarity items, you rather have your normal tier essence, which can be used on any rarity item, normal, magic, or rare. And then you have your greater one that does the same thing, but it adds, let's say, it has a higher chance to be a higher tier mod of that tag. Now, by doing that, you might say, oh, but now everyone's just going to essence slam for all their mods, right? But you could have it so that it adds an exclusive essence modifier. So while an item has an exclusive essence tier modifier, it cannot be affected by another essence, right? So by doing that, you immediately make a whole lot of other systems way more interesting, right? Because currently essences, you have to gather 5 million bases and then essence slam and then recombinate. If you can make it so it can be applied to rare items, you can now say you could fracture a mod and then essence spam for a second mod, or you could fracture a mod, recombinate, then essence, or you could have a fractured mod and then go for the essence, or like chaos spam.